What's up, guys? Welcome back to IQcodec. Actually, it's 2021 and we wish you all a happy new year. You guys following us from all over the world. So today actually I'm Fabrice from IQcodec, and today is actually the third video on our latest playlist, which we're actually talking about the future of tech. So in the video tutorial of today, we're going to be talking about the future of Intel. So Intel is actually planning on releasing the latest i11 processor, the 11th generation, which actually the Core i9 11900K. So this processor is actually going to take off the throne of the Ryzen 5000 series. Because actually right now, if you actually go on the Google search bar and let us, for example, search for a keyword like the best gaming processor for basic 2020. So, and at the result, you're going to notice that the AMD Ryzen 9 5000 series actually placed at the first level and still at the second, and Core i7 comes at the third. So Intel actually comes at the third. So actually right now, AMD actually has the crown of the best gaming processor for the year 2021. But this is coming to change with the latest release of the Intel processor. So Intel is planning of releasing their latest Core i9 processor, as I said earlier, which is the processor 11 generation 11900K, and this processor will be very performing in terms of the single score. So this processor is going to show the difference between gaming at a single score and gaming at the multi-core. So if you actually check at the CPU benchmark of the latest AMD Ryzen processor, which is actually the 9 series, actually has a number of 16 cores with the 32 threads and a base speed of 3.4, and at the max boost speed we have a speed of 4.9 GHz. And the CPU benchmark actually shows that the single thread score scored by this processor is actually 658, and the multi-thread level actually scored a level of 12,366. So Intel is planning of releasing a processor that will take an advantage in terms of single core performance compared to the so Intel is planning of creating this processor in order to show the advantage of a single core processor. Because if you actually check, here's the benchmark. So from our research, we've actually found out that Intel is going to be releasing a processor that is actually going to outrage the AMD 9 5000 series in terms of single core comparison. So you can check at this level. If you check at the multi-score level here, you can see that the AMD 9 series actually beat the 10th generation of the Core i9. But if we go at, and you can see here the specs of the Intel 11900K processor. Okay, so it comes with 8 cores, 16 threads, a single boost speed. So one processor can be turbo at the level of 5.3 GHz, and all core are boost at 4.8 and level 3 cache of 16 MB. So you can see the processor actually comes out with a very so compared to the latest version of compared to the Core i9, the 10th generation, which actually comes with 10 cores and 20 cores. So the latest release will actually be 8 cores, not 10, and 16 threads. So as Microsoft actually said, so this is what our sources are telling us. And if you check at the single core performance of this processor, you can see actually outrages the AMD 9 5000 series. So you can see actually the difference actually very clear. So the single core performance of the AMD Ryzen 9 is actually 670, and if you check at the single core performance of the Intel i9 11900K, is actually at 695. So you can see it is closely up to 5 to 7% much faster in single core speed compared to the AMD Ryzen 9. So if you are planning on building a game PC for this, you should consider taking considering the latest processor that Intel is going to be releasing. So you can see this source actually confirmed that the single core test as the Core i9 11 ends up with 25% faster than the Intel Core i10 generation, 90% faster than the Core i10 10th generation, and 5 to 7% faster than the Ryzen 7 and the Ryzen 9 5950X. So as you can see, this is actually going to be very new. So Microsoft is actually planning on releasing this processor to actually show the real meaning of gaming. So actually to prove that the single core performance gaming is more better than the multi-core. So you can see from this post, you can actually see that if nothing, this upcoming processor generation may serve as an interesting case study on what is actually more important for gaming. So it's either the single or multi-threaded performance. So you can see Microsoft is actually Intel is actually aiming on the single threading performance compared to AMD, which is actually aiming on the multi-threading performance in terms of gaming, as compared to the PS5 and the Xbox One X series, which actually have both 8 cores and 16 thread and actually are going to do very good with games. So if you're actually planning of buying a gaming PC for this year, so I advise you to actually buy, let us say for instance, you can either see going for the 5000 series of the Ryzen 9 or actually going for the Intel, because this processor is actually not yet released. So what we're doing now, we're just confirming from our sources, because if you check, here's actually the benchmark of this processor, and actually from a source on Twitter which also actually did a screen capture of the single thread score of the Intel 11 generation. You can see the single thread score is actually 695 compared to this single score of the AMD Ryzen 9 5000 series, which actually 658, and you have a level of 695. You can see it is very, very clear that this processor will actually take off the throne of the Ryzen processor compared in gaming performance. I can see the CPU multi-thread overall score goes to 6522, and here actually goes to 12,366. So you can see the multi-thread performance of the AMD Ryzen 9 5000 series actually outrages the multi-thread score performance of the Intel i9 11 generation processor. But when it comes to a single core, Intel actually outrages this performance of the Ryzen 9 5000 series. So this processor is going to be something that you guys are going to be love to see. So it's going to be very, very outrageous in terms of single core performance. So I'll advise you guys to actually go for it. So if you are planning of building a PC for gaming in this year 2021, so I advise you either going for the Intel 11 generation processor, which is not yet out, but for now you can still keep using the AMD processor. But I assure you that when this processor is going to be out, it is going to take off the crown of AMD Ryzen in terms of gaming. So actually let me know what you actually think about these changes, and let me know your overview to see if yes or no, if this processor is actually going to outrage AMD in terms of gaming performance with their Ryzen 5000 series. So that is it. And if you have any further questions for this video in any aspect, please let me know in the comment section and I'm going to answer to you. And if you have any recommendation or any suggestion for my next video, I'll be very glad to have it. So make sure you comment, like and subscribe to this video. So happy new year. I am Fabrice from IQcodec. Bye.